You are freshly born, flop into the world like a slippery sock full of anxiety and legs. You can barely see. Your ears are twitching like faulty satellite dishes. Your body wobbles like someone stuck zebra stripes on a brown giraffe costume. You try to stand. It's not going great. Your knees bend in weird directions. Your back legs splay out like someone spilled stilts on a slope. You finally wobble upright, blinking at the blur that is your mom, tall, sleek, and quietly judging you. She gives you one slow lick on the forehead and walks off into the rainforest without another word. You collapse back into the mud. Congratulations, you've just been born as an Okapi. You wake up alone.
And where's Mom?
Well, she's gone. She left you hidden in a patch of ferns and moss, because here's how this works. For the first 2 to 3 months of your life, you're on forest lockdown. Mom visits only briefly, to feed you and clean you, then disappears into the trees again. Why? Because if she hangs around too long, something will notice. Like a leopard, or a crowned eagle, or a python with a taste for striped veal.
Are you sure I've not been abandoned?
No, it's called anti-predator strategy, and thanks to that, you've somehow survived the first month. And then things get weirder. Because this forest, it's thick. Not just in a poetic, moody mist kind of way. We're talking Central African rainforest thick. Vines tangle like spaghetti. Light barely filters in. Everything's wet. And because you're an Okapi, you have to learn to move silently through it. You have rubbery hooves that absorb sound. Great for stealth, but terrible for traction. Also, your tongue is already growing into a personal nightmare. It's 18 inches long, prehensile, slick, and somehow capable of licking your own eyeballs. But hey, it's been a few months since you were born, and now you're finally old enough to follow Mom around. Sort of. Your legs still feel like wet stilts, but at least you're not confined to the moss patch anymore. You take your first real look at yourself in a pool of water and...
Oh no!
Yeah, you look like someone accidentally hit shuffle on evolution. You've got the body of a horse, the face of a giraffe, zebra-striped legs, deer ears, a moose tongue, and the vibe of someone who got dressed in the dark using spare animal parts. In fact, for over 100 years, humans thought you weren't even real. When explorers first heard of okapis from local people in the Congo, they thought it was a myth. And when the first specimen made it to Europe, scientists lost their minds. They thought you were fake. Some kind of taxidermy mashup sewn together like a Victorian cryptid. And honestly, you don't blame them. Because your closest relative is a giraffe, but instead of majestic neck stretching, you got stealth zebra cosplay. In fact, everything about you is halfway to something cooler. Your neck is long, but not long. Your tongue is useful, but also unnerving. Your legs are built for silence, but also for slipping in the mud. You're kind of tall, but not giraffe tall. You're kind of fast, but not gazelle fast. You're kind of strong, but not rhino strong. You're just fine. Even the other animals don't know what to make of you.
Nice stripes, horse.
I'm not a horse.
Okay, zebra?
Nope.
Then what are you?
Sad.
You are nature's awkward middle child. The mysterious cousin nobody invites to the group photo because you'll confuse the lineage. But hey, who cares? You're bigger now and you've stopped wobbling when you walk. Your coat has darkened, your legs are showing off those zebra stripes like you mean it, and your tongue can finally reach your own eyeball, which is somehow impressive and disturbing. And now that you're big enough to roam on your own, you've realized something even more brutal. It's not just your body that's weird, it's your entire way of life. You're starting to notice that something feels off. You realize that the jungle around you is eerily quiet. No crowd, no buddies, no Okapi brunch club. Just you, your thoughts, and the occasional fruit dropping from above like nature's version of a pity snack. Because here's the brutal truth. You are a strictly solitary animal, and not in a majestic loner lion kind of way. You're not brooding like a panther or mysterious like a snow leopard. You're just alone, permanently. Okapis don't form herds. The only time you ever really see another Okapi is if it's your mom and you're about to be ditched. It's a mate, and they're about to ghost you after 90 seconds. Or it's your reflection in a puddle, and you briefly mistake it for a stranger. It's not that you want to be this antisocial, it's that you were engineered for it. Your senses are supercharged to detect the slightest noise or scent. Your glands ooze musky oils that mark your territory. Your ears rotate independently like nature's own security cameras. All of this so you can avoid other Okapis. Even your communication is designed for maximum awkward distance. Your vocal cords can produce sounds that are too low for humans to hear, and just high enough to freak out nearby frogs. These infrasonic calls are your way of saying, "Hey, I'm over here. Please stay far away." And if, heaven forbid, you do run into another male, there's no, hey bro, moment. There's just side eyes, sniffing, and then maybe a horn duel. Yeah, you have horns now. Sort of. They're called ossicones, like giraffes have, but way smaller, like nature ran out of budget halfway through. They're used mostly for low-key headbutts during awkward territorial disputes.
Back off, this is my fig tree. You back off!
And it's not just other okapis you avoid. You dodge predators, humans, anything loud, anything fast, and sometimes butterflies. You live in the Ituri rainforest, a place so dense and overgrown it's basically the world's most humid anxiety chamber. And while the trees offer protection, they also make escape nearly impossible. You can't outrun a leopard, you can't hide forever. You just melt into the foliage and hope your silence is enough.
A few moments later.
More like 4 years later. You've spent most of your life up to this point avoiding everything. Predators, loud noises, and most importantly, other okapis. But now, something's different. There's a smell in the air. It's musky, earthy, vaguely attractive. Your brain does a little flip. Your hormones are throwing a rave. You've entered mating season. And for a creature who spends 364 days a year desperately avoiding contact, this one day of, hey, wanna maybe make a baby, is a logistical nightmare. First of all, finding a female is like trying to locate Wi-Fi in a cave. She could be anywhere in your multi-acre rainforest turf. And since both of you are so introverted, neither of you is making a sound. You just start sniffing like a paranoid truffle pig. Every tree gets a nose inspection. Every log might contain a clue. Eventually, you find it. A scent trail. Sticky, oily, and fresh. You're in business. And then you see her. Tall, striped, majestic, and glaring at you like you've just walked into her bathroom uninvited. Because remember, this is not a romantic species. There are no love songs, no dancing, no antler duels or puffed-up displays. Your flirting strategy is basically 1. Approach slowly. 2. Don't spook her. 3. Maybe sniff her butt. 4. Hope she doesn't run away. And even if she does stick around, congratulations. You now get a few brief moments of awkward jungle quiet mating.
So, you come here often?
Just breed and leave, pal.
Right.
And once it's over, she walks off. Immediately. You don't see her again. Ever. You won't help raise the calf. You won't even know if it survived. You just slink back into the underbrush, mission accomplished, wondering if that counted as love. Spoiler, it didn't. But for her, the hard part has just begun. She'll carry the calf for a mind-numbing 14 to 16 months. That's over a year of growing a mini zebra giraffe in her belly, all while navigating the same predator-filled rainforest, eating leaves, and avoiding any other living being. Meanwhile, you're back to licking bark, dodging leopards, and pretending you're invisible. But here's the problem. They only work if you stay absolutely still. The moment you move, you're just a giant striped flag screaming, "Delicious horse snack here." And that's probably why you're slowly going into extinction. Because, you see, for the longest time humans didn't even know you existed. Villagers in the Congo knew about you. They called you Ati, told stories, described your striped legs and giraffe face. But European explorers? They thought it was a myth. That is, until the early 1900s, when some British guy finally found your skull and went, "Wait, this thing is real?" That was the beginning of the end. Because once they confirmed you were real, they had to capture you. For science. Which is how the Okapi, one of nature's most private, elusive animals, ended up stuffed in museums, sketched in explorer journals, and eventually dragged into zoos. And what did the humans do next? They brought roads, chainsaws, mining operations, armed conflict, all of it right into the middle of your neighborhood. You're not just endangered because of predators or climate change. You're endangered because your house got bulldozed while you were still in it. Deforestation? Absolutely. Poaching? Of course. But the real killer. Disruption. You're a creature that thrives on stability, on silence, on isolation. But now, there are logging trucks where your salt licks used to be, machine gun fire where you once napped under the trees, gold mines tearing through the earth while your calves stumble through the underbrush trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And it's not just habitat loss, it's fragmentation. You used to roam freely through dense, uninterrupted jungle. Now, your world is a patchwork of danger zones, guarded clearings, and invisible fences of human noise and presence. Scientists didn't even know how many of you were left until recently, when they set up camera traps. And one day, you're wandering the undergrowth, nibbling on a fig leaf, trying to avoid duiker poop and another surprise snake under your hoof. The next, you're simply gone. Maybe a trail camera catches a final glimpse, blurred stripes vanishing into the mist, a fuzzy, still frame. Captioned, possible Okapi sighting. Unconfirmed, a whisper in the trees. You were just the Okapi. So yeah, being born an Okapi, it's just quietly heartbreaking, because you mattered, and no one knew.